Evening all. How is everybody tonight? Wow, there's a lot of you in already. Let's see who's here. Go for it painting. Hi, notification on. I saw that somebody else had said something earlier. Probably when I set this up, I think. That's Creek Road Factorium. Evening everyone. Looks like a first here. It looks like you weren't the first here. Creek Road. Go for it painting was here. John Sarby saves a seat. Andy actually got to join in today. Good stuff, Andy. I hope retirement is treating you well. Friends of General Haig, Andy. Evening. Still working. The children and bath stories, but listening with one ear. Good stuff. You can always listen again anyway. Paul. Evening. More Monmouth stuff for you tonight. Jeremy Brooks. Evening. Alex and the chat. Indeed, you'd be rebelling if you had to paint Monmouth stuff so long. Evening, Steve. Good to have you on board. Evening, Jonas. Painting Warlord Games 20mm. Metal World War II French tonight. For me, it's making field and 6mm, followed by painting some fantasy 28mm undead. Excellent. Evening, Andy. Evening, Rich John. Evening, Richard Hogg. Aha, the man himself. Carl Burks. I'm going to paint some of your tanks tonight, Richard. Even though I'll paint 50mm tonight. And Simon, evening to you as well. Well, everybody, let us know what you're up to. Some of you have already said what you're painting. I'm sitting here with little Tiny on my knee. She's just a little bit below the camera, but here she is. Adrian, evening all, making 28mm walls. Good stuff. Hit the like buttons, ladies and germs. Absolutely. 100%. Do it. Evening, Linda. Good to have you on board as well. It's looks like a full house tonight. Let us know if you're out there in the ether world. So like tonight, I've decided recently. Evening, Andy. Hope you had a good time at Waterloo. I had a fantastic time at Waterloo, Andy. Thank you very much. Put the pictures on the Storm Steel Facebook page, so go and check those out. Starting painting my 27 Kings of War army tonight, Northern Alliance, and I'll be writing a script for the video that I'm going to edit over the next few days. I hope. By Tabletop Basement TV. Good evening. Good to have you on board. So I started to work on that. So I took quite a lot. Great. Get painting. Designing paint holders for your mobile painting station box thing. Like smacked upside the head. Indeed. So yeah, these are the FTs, the Renault FTs. They're not actually called Renault, they're not FT17s. That's what they're a post-war name for them, but they were called just FT, which was a design number that they were developed under. So I've got some of those. Richard sent these, and I've got some more here. So what I've been doing recently is I found my Fizzers Men of Metal Scottish for the Napoleonic Wars, 18mm. I bought some ages ago, and I've just not touched them at all. They've just been sat in the bag. And then this weekend, being at Waterloo, really just made me think, yeah, get back onto them. Do some more sharp practice, and I might even play a sharp practice game. I've got the rest of the week off, so I might even do a sharp practice game at some point this week. Hi from Upper Hutt, New Zealand. It's early morning here. Well, it's late evening here, John, 7:30. Good to have you on board, though. So I basically based those up earlier on, and I have put the basic material on. But I also got Peter Pig's 8th Army British. I'll just put these into sight, and these are on their bases, but they actually need they need doing properly. So I'm gonna work on those tonight, get them finished. So by tomorrow they'll be done and ready to start the painting process. I'm starting to regret rechoice of painting this week. 28mm French. That's excellent. Evening, Terry, just arrived. Always good to have you on board. I don't know if you can see Tiny at the moment. She's just sitting on my knee. I'll just get the old camera down there so you can see the star of the show, the one who gets paid in dreamies more than anything else. So yeah, the Waterloo trip kind of just gave me a bit of a push to do some more Napoleonic stuff, and I was thinking about in the Lardy special there was Joe McGinn wrote a scenario for a Punch Up Plants Noir between the Old Guard Grenadiers and the Prussians, and I've got most of the Prussians already. So what I might do is buy myself a bunch of Old Guard. Need to have a couple of sharp practice games to warm up for Crackdown 4. You certainly probably do. It's a great game. It's just such a good game anyway. So I was thinking of doing it tomorrow, just throwing some stuff together on the table just while I'm still in that buzz. Where am I at? And I was just about to paint these guys, and so what I've done so far, I can't bother to do any extreme colours on these, so I've gone with olive drab, which is a paint scheme that was used by the French in the First World War, as well as those crazy afternoon. Charles, good to have you on board. So I'm just going to dry brush these first of all, and then I'm going to get these British based up so they're ready, because I wanted a full platoon of Brits for Malaya and Singapore, so that's the plan with those. So simple evening tonight. So what, those who haven't said, what are you up to tonight or today or tomorrow or whenever it is, wherever you are, let me let me know. So this is just a simple dry brushing of grey green over the olive drab, just to pick up those edges, and then I will add some other details like the tracks and all that stuff. I mean, I won't get to them tonight, but I'll certainly do them over the next couple of days. A couple of days off, so I thought today I should just spend the day painting, because I haven't done a lot of painting of late. I thought it was the best way to do it. What rule set will you be using? For what, Glendower? I'm not sure what bit you're talking about. You're talking about these tanks? Are you talking about Singapore? These tanks, I'll probably use them in Through the Mud and the Blood. And for Singapore, it's Chain of Command. That's what I'm doing. And that's why all the figures are individually based. Chain of Command, because the only figures I have for Singapore are multiple base ones that I did for Rapid Fire years ago, and now use them for O Group instead. But you can use multiple based figures in Chain of Command, but it's easier if you've got individual figures ones, I think. Painting 3 figures from The Good, the Bad, the Ugly for What Cowboy. Excellent, brilliant stuff. It was such a good game as well. Building bolt action, the older kit with the separate arms and weapons. Okay, you're building a bolt action rifle. Wow. Painting Tyranids for 40k and Samurai for Test of Honour. Bolt action British. Okay. For World War I 15mm. Well, if you watch my videos, you'd know. Recently I've been using Cocking Up the Mud and the Blood for the last one, but I also use Through the Mud and the Blood as well for First World War stuff. Probably 50 Shades of Field Grey for you tonight. So start the uniform base coat for your First World War Germans. Excellent. That's good. Are they in 28mm, John? They'll be nice, I'm sure. Are they late war or early war? That's the other question. So yeah, I'm just doing a very quick dry brush on these bad boys. Just to get them done. They're going to need all the tracks and everything painted, of course. I've got very nicely, Richard sent me four tanks of each type. So 4 with the trail, the rear trail, and then 4 without it, and also 4 machine gun turrets and 4 non-machine gun turrets. So nice old mix there. Painting 6mm ECW to use for King and Parliament. It's a very popular set of rules at the moment, isn't it? I think. Oh no, I'm thinking of To the Strongest. Oh, no, for King and Parliaments, I think quite popular as well at the moment. Steve, evening. No to paint. Mo. Need to get some more figures and need individual bases for Been Shot Mum, which I loved at Club of the Week. Hopefully another game soon. Yeah, happy to play another game, Steve. Unfortunately though, I'm not going to be down the club for the next couple of weeks, I don't think, because this week I realised I was going to play Chain of Command with Dex, continue our Curse campaign, but I forgot that I'd actually got a talk on Thursday night, so I'm out doing that. And then the following week I'm going down to London to meet up with my wife as she comes back from Greece. So we're going to go to London for a couple of days for the weekend. So, and I'm going down there Thursday night, so I won't be down the club this week nor next, probably the week after. But I have been, Dex and I have had about, feels like a million years off our Chain of Command campaign, so I think we'll probably go back to that if he's free. I don't know if he's in tonight or not. 10mm late wall. Oh yes, of course. Yeah. You're some armour as well from Bendraken. Nice, very nice indeed. And that's all going to be for Through the Mud and the Blood, isn't it? I finished off those French finally today for Through the Mud and the Blood, John. Some more bits and pieces. I did some trench raiders and casualties, and also surrendering French as well. Strangely enough, they don't do surrendering British or Germans, which is a bit annoying because they can be quite useful if the units are overrun. But I've also kind of been, I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, I have actually been working on some Chain of Command Great War rules, just kind of throwing a few ideas about. And what I might do is I might actually play test those as well and make that into a bit of a video, just with a couple of ideas, and see what I come up with. I was working on doing stuff like having trench raiders and things, but making it quite different to Chain of Command in that you have randomised numbers of troops in your forces and randomised number of sections, so it's not a prescriptive thing. But yeah, I was just throwing a few ideas around, and I might use them. Let's see what happens. So a big thing this weekend was I went over to Waterloo. As you know, I'll talk about it more in my hobby update next week, but it was fantastic. Brilliant weather, really good. We were there, got there Thursday night, just a little bit too late. I'd suggested calling into Ypres on the way down, so I've not been there for, I think, since the centenary in 2014, and everyone agreed it was a good idea, but the Channel Tunnel was delayed by 2 hours, which meant we ended up playing can anyone suggest a good colour for British First World War battle dress? Any manufacturer? Well, I just use Vallejo's English uniform, if I remember. Let me see, I've got it written down here. I'll tell you exactly what I use. British Malaya, Japanese Malaya, Soviets, Germans, British First World War. No, uniform base, brown violet, uniform highlights, English uniform. There you go, that gives you that greenish brown colour that they are. It's slightly different to the Second World War uniform, so go with that. That's what I did. You did start the COP Great War. Cool. Yeah, it was only throwing a few ideas about. Suppose you could do a solo co-op trench raid game like Dungeon Crawl, moving our trench, encountering random enemies. Yeah, potentially. Question for Alex in the chat. Anyone tried to paint German armour in 6mm by using a light grey undercoat and painting contrast speed paint over it? No. There's my answer. No, I've never tried doing that. The only German armour I've painted in recent years in 6mm was the 3-tone camo stuff for Kursk I did, and that was all I did was just do it in my usual mix of Vallejo Middlestone with reflective green and chocolate brown splodges on top, but at that level you can't see anything anyway. So yeah, we got delayed on the I actually use World War II English uniform from Vallejo. Well, that could work, but I use the brown violet as the undercoat. So yeah, we were delayed on the Channel Tunnel going over 2 hours, so we ended up playing Terraforming Mars for a bit. And then by the time we got there, it was a bit too late to do anything, so we kind of just had some grub, had a couple of beers and hit the hay, and then we're up early the next morning. But whilst we were there, we bumped into another group of wargamers. There was 4 of them out there. Greg from from the Wargamers forum over on Twitter. He was there with some of his mates. Colin, I saw him late. Took the roof off the car. We have another few weeks. 86, 2017. Blimey. I hope it all is well with you. That's hot. Our hotness seems to have disappeared. But yeah, the weather was wonderful in Belgium, and it absolutely fulfilled a lifelong dream to go out and visit the battlefields. And I suggested that we also went out to Quatre Bras and Ligny and Wavre while we were there. But Wavre is pretty much underneath. Thanks, Alex and John Salby. No worries. I'm about to paint up about 100-ish panzers for May 40 as enemies for my Belgians, lesser extent French, latter because I want to scratch their handle-tage. Speed paint with nice option. What I would do is I would just, to be honest, I'd probably just undercoat them in black and then just give them a dry brush of neutral grey. That's pretty much, or German grey by Vallejo with a slight dry brush of neutral grey. That's it. That's all I'd do at 6mm. Wouldn't bother with much else, to be honest. So yeah, we went to Quatre Bras, which I was desperate to see. It was great to stand on the ground there. A battle I've been so interested in since I was a nipper. It's your son's wedding on the weekend. We had the Lancaster fly directly overhead. Brilliant. Couldn't be better timed. How much did it cost you to get it done, Terry? So yeah, it was let's say not a cloud in the sky, and then it pissed it down on the way home, which was fine because we were coming home, and then we stopped in Ypres on the way back. And again, it was lovely to be back there. So it's just a long time since I've been, and there was a time when I felt like I was there every few months for a few years. It was great. And another thing as well, we were at bloody Waterloo and bumped into a mate of ours who was doing a tour guide. We just came down the Lion Mound and he was just there talking to a school group. I've not seen Steve in years. Literally years. Last time I saw him, I think, was out at Bullecourt when I bumped into him again in Arras. And that was in 2017, I think. Yeah, not seen him for donkey's years. And there he is at bloody Waterloo. Can't escape people sometimes. But yeah, small world. And then we went out for some drinks with the Wargaming lads. I can't remember which club they were. One started with a H, Huntington, or I think. So that was nice, and we were all just chatting about what rules we like and what rules we don't like. And of course, everybody's opinion was completely different. Some liked them, some didn't like them. It was good fun though. Dry brushing's the go-to in mine as well. Trying to think outside my own box, see if it's speed paints. We've been option of test model drying as we speak. Not sure if I like it. I mean, well, the speed paints, I mean, you know, they work in some things. I can't really imagine they're working on vehicles very well. Because it's just a different look. I mean, vehicles are not organic by their very nature, whereas kind of speed paints end up looking organic. So I would say personally, I think I'd go with dry brushing just because of that. Simply because of that that factor. You want to be picking up on those points, don't you? White base coat, Citadel Templar contrast, dry brush Vallejo neutral grey could work with 6mm, or Panzer Grau spray with neutral grey dry brush. Yeah, I'd go with the latter of those two, I think. But that's why you test them. I put best about the best rules. I certainly did. Of course I did. No messing. It came to blows. Yeah, it was. That was the. I think that was the night that Yorkshire Ken's Wargamer World Cup was announced, or was that on the day after? I can't remember when Chain of Command won it. Use speed paints very sparingly. They're useful, but not the only thing. Absolutely, they are, as Sean always says, another tool in the box. Something to use, but good call. There you go. You know, there are other things as well and other ways of doing stuff. But yeah, test it, I guess, is the way. And as long as it looks good to you, that's the most important thing. I was hoping these figures would have turned up last week, but they didn't, unfortunately, because I may have made some headway into getting them painted for the Singapore mini campaign. So I wanted to do that this week, but I don't think I'm going to get to it this week. I had that, went to Hamburg, bumped into a mate once in years, found out he now lives down the road. There you go. It's just weird, isn't it? Small world, basically. So yeah, so I've got there's about 40 rifles, and then enough for you know, a platoon of supports, and then a load of big men and leaders, which I will also number as well. And but yeah, I kind of wanted them for the Singapore scenarios, but there might be a couple of weeks before they're finished. DAC Panzers are good in 10mm using contrast paints. Okay, though null name or Agnox on top basically usually is probably similar. Yeah, it's just a different way of doing it, isn't it? Yorkshire still hasn't dated opposed the results to TMP. No, he said he didn't. Well, judging by the reactions he got over there from his earlier posts of the earlier rounds, yeah, I'm not surprised. It probably gets blocked by Bill's TMP filters anyway, by his TFL filters, sorry. In the same way you're not allowed to say troll over there, you're not allowed to say two fat lardies either. Oh, that's the funny times. There's probably more people who've been banned from TMP than actually post there these days. I know I was. That's you know, 10-15 years ago it was an alright website. Not now though. But anyway, this is not the place to slag off TMP. So at the moment all I'm doing is I'm just getting the polyfiller on these. It'll be dry by tomorrow morning, so I can at least get them undercoated and ready. And I'm going to try to knock them all off. I'm going to paint everything that I got from Peter Pig, and then what I'll do is I will then, once I've painted it up, I'll divide them into their platoons and get them sorted. I also, in the post as well, was it yesterday? Oh no, when I got back from Warbases, I got some platoon rosters that I've knocked together for ready for CrackCon for the Germans and for the British, so people can see exactly what forces they've got. I think it'll just make the game a little bit easier, and also, you know, for me as well, just when I'm playing a game down the club and I only want to take down the figures that I need, I'll just put a pile on those, and they can all be found in my Google Drive somewhere, but I haven't got a link to them just yet. So yeah, I've been last couple of days I've been trying to do bits and pieces with the channel, getting stuff ready for the next couple of months. So I made a Blucher video, just finished that off. I'm currently editing that. I had a game with my mate Dean the other week, and we played I Ain't Been Shot Mum, and I'm currently trying to edit that. That's a massive amount of data though. It's about 117 gig of filming, so that's taken a while. And then I did all the filming for Waterloo, and I'm trying to write a script and get that done. And I also at least want to get one more game played and filmed by the end of the week. So I was thinking, because I've still got the Waterloo bug, I think it might well be sharp practice, because it's a nice easy game, quick to set up, no messing. British versus French. Bada bing, bada boom. Everybody's happy. So yeah, that's my plan. And I don't think I'll be doing a live stream next week either. unfortunately, because I'm going to, well, good for me, but I'm going up to Scotland for the night. So I don't expect a live stream for next week. Unless perhaps I do it on Wednesday or something. Who knows? Anything could happen in the crazy world of Storm of Steel Wargaming. You post on YouTube about the time it takes me to make and edit a video. Your post on YouTube about the time it takes to make and edit a video is interesting. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was just thinking about it while I was editing, and it actually surprised me as to how long it actually took. Napoleonic kick sounds good to you. Because when you are making videos, it does, you don't really think about it, you know, an hour here or there. But a normal game video, it can be quite quick. A chain of command one, because I've kind of got a bit of a process for it, and I make sure that it's almost edited in the shooting, if that makes sense. So it's like it's ready to go. It just needs topping and tailing and a few bits and pieces adding and stuff, you know. Whereas when I'm playing against somebody, it's a bit different, because there's a lot of things to be cut out, but you kind of got to maintain the narrative of the game as much as anything else, and you want to highlight the good stuff. So you've got to kind of watch the game back again, and if you've been playing for 3 hours, it's a long process, because you've not only got to watch it, but then you've also got to trim it, and, you know, re-watch it, make sure it all fits together and stuff. So that's why the I Ain't Been Shotman one, I've been working on it for over a week now, and it's still not really progressed any further. But it will make the light of day, just not yet. But yeah, when I'm the Blucher one that I'm doing at the moment is taking a longish time as well, because I've actually got so many shots, because there was a lot happening in it, and there's something like, you know, there's in a Blucher game, in this one there was about 25 moves, I think. So each one of those has got to be shot, and all the different things that happen in those moves has to be shot. So you end up with something like about 75 individual things happening. But then if I'm using 2 cameras, you double that to 150 things happening, and they've got to be cut together. And again, once again, you know, you've got to watch it all. And that was a long game. That took quite a while. And then on top of that, you've got to play the actual game. So yeah, it does take a hell of a long time, but I find the shortest videos are the longest ones, because if I write a script for it, and the script is about 2,000 words, that's got to be researched, written, then edited, then I've got to record it, and I've got to edit the recording, the actual voiceover. So even just a 10-minute, you know, bit can take a good hour to record and edit, because you've got to edit out all the ums and ahs and all the fluffed lines and all that stuff, and then you've got to put together all the rest of it. In those painting videos, the actual easiest bit is just the actual painting, and that only took about 40 minutes or so. It's all the rest. Oh dear. So I'm having some troubles. It looks like I'm experiencing some rubbish at the moment, I'm afraid. I'll let you know in chat what's happening. Used to make podcasts about World War One during lockdown. They took long enough, so Tom Moss make good gaming videos. Oh, cheers, Andy. It's nice to hear. Yeah, I can imagine podcasts take a long time because there's a lot of cutting out of things in there. At least with a bit of the video, you can kind of cut a couple of different angles in, so it's slightly different. You can cover up some mistakes here and there. But with a podcast, because you're only using one, I always thought podcasts are probably a lot harder to actually edit, because you can cover up mistakes with visuals in a video, but not so much in a podcast. So you've got to be very, what I mean is you've got to be very careful with your thingy. Storming here as well. Prefer to create painting vids or gaming vids? Good question. Gaming vids really, but they take such a long time because you've got to play the game. So that, you spend an afternoon just filming the thing. I mean, if I was unemployed or retired, or had a countless amount of money, I'd probably just do gaming videos. What I probably would do is play the game, then farm it out to an editor who could then splice it all together for me, and I'd do it that way, I think. Still making when the pub's reopened. It's raining over here. Cats are drying up in front of the fireplace. Bless them. Yeah, the painting videos are alright. I do enjoy making them, but I don't think I'm a particularly good painter. But I kind of show quick painting techniques for getting your army on the table. It's kind of counter to all the other painting videos that are out there that use a million different colours on one sword. The kind of stuff that nobody's got time for, really. Perils of podcasts. Henry Hyde's last podcast, it was apparently a second take, so I forgot to hit the record first time around. Yeah, that's got to be a killer. I've done that before, where I've not filmed something. There has been one or two videos where I've actually just completely binned them off because I just didn't like them at all. Just thought, this is crap. Why should I put this rubbish out? Or I was struggling to get the thing put together. I can't remember. You can't even remember what games they were now. Such a long time ago. But I would, if I had my choice, I would probably do it more like tabletop CP and have an overhead camera. I just don't have the space for it here, or the means to set it up. But that may change soon enough. But yeah, I'd have it a bit like them. I don't know if I'd do live games, but I'd certainly, I'd like to have it'd be nice to have like a Saturday night and you just play a game and then film it and then get it edited the next day. But obviously, life takes over, doesn't it? Probably the wrong forum to ask, but does anyone know where Wargames Atlantic, the damned set, will actually be released? No idea. No idea. A lot of painting videos are too highbrow, good to see, but totally unrealistic for painters like me. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, painting is really it is skill, but you can also learn some of those skills. But who wants to spend 15 hours painting a single figure when you want to get an army on the table? You want it quick, easy, bam, bam. Do this, do that. And there isn't that many of those out there. I mean, Sonic Sledgehammer, Troy is very good at doing that. His techniques are good and quick. There's nothing wrong with that. After painting 500 shades of Felgrau, the French are really fun to paint. Yeah, slightly different. I think one said you've been the Gasland vid. I put it up and it got a load of dislikes, and then it's still up there, it's just unlisted. I think you can find it if you go searching hard enough, but yeah, it's rubbish. Having a ticket to boot and cheery. Oh, yes, certainly are, James. Good to have you. Just pleased to be able to make some of the stream for the first time in ages. Lovely, calming polyfiller spackle action there. The 3 foot rule is okay, absolutely. I abide by it. 3 foot rule is my god. You know, I take my time over model kits that go in the display cabinet. Toy soldiers that are going to get used as gaming pieces, not so much. I made them so they look okay. Well, they look okay at a distance. And that's it for me. Happy days. Right, that's the heavy weapons and the officers done. Now I'll just go do these infantry. So there's a number of these to do now. I'll do those FTs. I'll probably do those tomorrow, doing the black and stuff. There's not much to do on them actually. It's just the tracks and the exhausts. But I just can't be bothered tonight. It's a bit of a fiddly job. So I like to use these sessions for doing some prep on stuff. So that's what I'm going to do with these ones now. So these are the Peter Pig 8th Army gentlemen. What I was thinking of doing was actually getting some of the Peter Pig 8th what they call them, turbaned Punjabs, and also get those on the get those ready for Malaya as well. Do another platoon because I've got some Sikhs, but there was a lot of Punjabs and chats at in Malaya, and they have that different turban. Don't know what you call it. So it might be worthwhile getting some 8th Army and doing some head swaps because Peter Pig do the Punjab turban. I'm a gamer that paints a game with at least 2 painters who game. There you go. It's good to have a label, isn't it? And that's Jeffrey. Good evening, Jeffrey. I hope you're well. But yeah, the nice thing about the chain of command platoons is they are, you know, they're only like 36 men or something, 38 men or something like that. So they're nice and easy, very quick. You can knock one out definitely in a week, no messing. And as I got myself a nice new, really useful box the other day, I've got to fill it up, haven't I? Can't have an empty, really useful box. That would never do. It would never do. Wow, there's 33 of you watching. Say hello, those folks out there in the internet world who are watching but are staying silent. Introduce yourself to chat. Tell us what you're up to. Wow, I can hear the house getting battered outside. Pretty bad for the house next door because they're just having their roof fixed. I hope they've waterproofed it before they have. The roof replaced, rather. The tiles replaced. What are we saying? What's Paul saying? I think there's a lot of snobbery in top end painting videos. Clickbait phrases like "you've been doing it wrong" really boils my urine. Right, you can swear here, Paul. We're amongst friends. Yeah, I get that. And I see somewhere it says, 5 painting techniques of which I know when I started, and it's like use water to thin your paints. Like, come on. All right, I know some people need told, but it's just such a. I do try to avoid clickbaity titles. Once in a while I make them, but I don't do it on purpose. Not quite a storm. Very windy over here in eastern Sweden as well. Yeah, I think we're getting battered by it at the moment. It's meant that today was a pretty miserable day, all told. So I've kind of been hunkered down a little bit. Trying not to do anything too strenuous. Too long in the tooth to learn new stuff. I've got a style that does me. Well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I do change styles, and I have changed styles over time, but it's I like contrast paints and stuff like that. I don't use those, you know, a new thing that comes out. It just, but you know, if it works for you, it works for you. But yeah, I've got a style that I use, but I look back on the stuff that I painted 10 years ago and it's very different to what I'm painting now even. But it's just been a gradual change rather than a seismic shift, shall we say. That's the way it works for me. Because before my old Malaya stuff that I painted, getting on for 15 years ago now, I think, you know, I painted that stuff without a wash. I just painted it and then painted highlights. I did bits of shading and stuff, but nowadays I'll block paint it, ink wash it, and then just do some quick highlights. But I don't think I'd heard of Agrax Earthshade at the time, so it was, you know, it was the only way I could do it. Blowing a hooey. I think the last time I changed style was when I switched from enamels to acrylics. Yeah, I used to paint in enamels when I was a nipper, but that's when I was doing military modelling. So I think some of my first Wargaming figures, my Esky figures, were probably painted in enamels as well before I discovered acrylics. But it was a big shift, a big change to go from one to the other. And I've never looked back since. In fact, the only enamel I've got now is a filter. This one here, I think. Yeah, brown filter for dark yellow by MIG, which I use on big German vehicles, on big military models. But yeah, I wouldn't use acrylics now. It's too much faff with all the cleaning and stuff for the brushes. Acrylics have come on a huge way since when I first started using them. I'm sure it's the same with you as well, John. Massive difference. That's John, sorry, Andy. I was looking at the wrong name. Assembly tiny little Renaissance galleys tonight. Add to your existing fleet. Just got to remember how I went about painting the originals so the new ones match in. Well, you know what you need. You need yourself a little book. A little book full of stuff. This is what I do every time I paint something new. I basically make a note of the colours and then stick it in my little book, and then I can always go back and check it again and then realise I'm doing it wrong. But no, it keeps me on the straight and narrow. There you go, that could be a clickbait title for a video, couldn't it? How to paint and what you've been doing wrong. Get yourself a little book. Yeah, I just always whenever I do anything new, it's just worthwhile just sticking it in the wee book, just to because my memory is very short. And then the other thing is as well, because I've got so many greys and browns and greens in this Vallejo collection that I've got here. Painting a notebook is a lifesaver, absolutely. Remember when someone at the Leeds Club discovered how to use Newton and Windsor ink pre-Earthshade? It was a revelation. Everyone clipped all almost immediately. There was a time when was it Army Painter brought out the dip method, which was basically just wood varnish, but with in an Army Painter tin. But yeah, that was a big one. I seem to think, well, I certainly was doing dipping before I did the old Agrax. I discovered Agrax. Can't remember first figures I used Agrax on. Thinning and cleaning using water is a massive advantage for acrylics, and that's before the huge range available. I like them. Where's Tiny? Thinking about it. And how's she doing? She is grand, James. If you skip back to the start of the video, she has a little appearance there. She was sitting on my knee earlier on. She's buggered off now though. She's got fed up of stardom. She's gone looking for trouble, and she is perfectly fine and happy. Go back, check the book, and swear you when you realise they changed the formulation. It's not the same shade. Was it Windsor and News and Pea Brown? I think I've probably got a tub of that stuff kicking about somewhere, the Pete Brown, Windsor and Newton. I think my mate, he suggested using it as a wash, and I used it for a bit, I think. I'm fairly sure I've got some kicking about. Proper old school, isn't it? Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how these trends occur and what happens. This, I tell you, is, to me, it's the worst bit. Brill. I do use the dip method, but I brush it on only down one side. His drying time is about 24 hours before you can varnish. Yeah, I remember it taking a long time. And yes, I used to brush it on as well. The dipping never really appealed. It always felt a bit dangerous. But I think I used Army Shader's strong shade as well. It's about the same as Agrax, really. And again, it's all down to personal preference, isn't it? Whatever you like. Fancy. What's that? Pete Brown and Squirrel Nut mixed 50-50. Evening stacking limit, Andrew. Afternoon, all those are here in the States. Dipping must have been around 056, so no more than 5 years ago. Yeah, mate, 5 years ago, that's right. You just keep thinking that. But yes, you're probably right. It was about 05, 06, I think. That's when dipping came in. I think one of my very first posts actually on TMP was a joke about double dipping my wife. A lot of people didn't get it. And of course I wasn't married at the time, and I was actually single at the time, so it was even funnier for me. Yeah, that would have been about 2006. It was Leeds. I said I was going to slow it down. Seems like I speeded up. Well, my wife has actually been in Greece for the last 2 weeks, and she's there till next week as well. She's working over there, so I've had a bit more time to myself in the last week or two. So that's pretty much why things have taken off again. When Yorkshire came up, it was never a nipper. Harrogate. Oh, they're fancy up there. Army graded shades are your choice. You need a good matte finish afterwards. Yeah, well, Windsor and Newton professional artist matte spray. You will not find a better spray. And it's a right good one. And it never lets me down. Well, apart from once, but we'll not talk about that. Apart from that, it has never let me down. I swear by it. It's such a good spray. And I know there's others out there that are good as well, but for me, that's mine. That's my go-to. I'm happy to spend my money on it. Yeesh. I'm getting there. I'm nearly about halfway through, I think. I'm going to keep going in. I'm going to keep doing these. I'm going to get them done tonight because I don't want to. I don't want to just do like half of them and then come back. So I'm going to carry on and get these finished. And then I might set the table up ready for short practice. Who knows? Yeah, he was never a nipper. Don't I always say that? Did a lot of gaming in Harrogate. Chris Flowers' house with the Leeds Elite. You're definitely elite if you're in Harrogate. Right, posh town. It's a proper posh town, isn't it? Right. Go on, you little bleeders. I can't believe how much of this polyfiller I've actually used as well. You know, it feels like you're only ever putting tiny amounts on these figures, on the bases, but I've used like 2/3 of the tub of this, and I've had it less than a year. Even in Chris Lane, down to Betty's for half-time cake and cup of tea. Blimey, you are posh if you're going to Betty's, and you've got about 3 hours to kill before you can actually get in there. I'm sure the Harrogate one is as busy as the York one. In the York one though, they've got a mirror that's signed by all the US airmen that were serving close by. I can't remember which airfield it was in the Second World War. That's pretty cool. It's downstairs, and there you go. If you go to Betty's in York, go downstairs and you'll see that mirror. Call it Greenwelly Country in Otley. They definitely have got green wellies. St Harrogate is a cemetery with street lights. I like that. It's true. We went there a while ago, and there's not a great deal to do, but we did buy a game. There's a game shop. Well, it's more like a toy and game shop, but they've got a good selection of board games. Come on, get in there, get in there. Start thinning your washers with medium after watching Sonic Saltjammer do it. Yeah, medium flour is good for stuff. I mean, it's certainly good for using on 28mm stuff. I don't bother with it, not on 15mm. But yes, I've certainly experimented with thinners and stuff in the past, just for washers. But for my purposes, I don't really need it. Paints change over time. First entries in the book in 1990 is rail leg of 15mm Romans and Palmarans. Colours of Citadel paints with names now lost to time. Got some of the original parts. Yeah, I used to have a bolt gun metal, which must have been over 20 years old, and it was still producing paint until just a couple of years ago, when it finally gave up the old ghost. But yeah, you can eke them out a bit. Used to be a good war game show in Harrogate. That rings a bell. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it certainly rings a bell of one being up there. Used to do the Harrogate Model Railway Show. Excellent. You cannot meddle them out, I said here. Now you can. I like model railways. I think they're fine. I like them because I like dioramas. I think I've said this before, but they're well made. They have an aesthetic about them though, don't they? But I do like them. There was that TV show a couple of years ago over here that had it was the competition to make the best model railway diorama, and they like had a couple of days to do it in or something. It's like the Lego show. Learnt a lot of things from Troy over the last couple of years, and I bought a lot of paint just because of him too. I was surprised at that, Andy. I thought you'd be a man of excellent painting knowledge already. And evening decks, yes, I am still at it. I'm just currently I'm just working my way through the last of these to get these bases done, so then they're finished, and then I will sign off. Decks, whilst you're here, I did say that I'd be able to game with you. Not this week, but the week after. I'm afraid I'm going to have to renege on that one as well, because I'm going to be down in London, so I do apologise for that. But maybe the week after. So I don't know if you can get a game together for the following week, then do so. I'm sure there might be a couple of takers for Chain of Command by the looks of it from your from the last games from last week. You lucky guys. Well, there's some cracking games. I used to love Citadel paints back in the day, apart from the whites. They turned chalky rubber in the pots every time. Citadel Smelly Primer was the absolute nuts. I used to have some, but they were all really expensive. That was a problem. I think when we were, buying that stuff, I was probably still using enamels, because that's just kind of what I've been brought up on. And I started using the Humbrol acrylics rather than the Games Workshop ones, because they're about half the price really. And I was also just used to using Humbrol stuff anyway, so I knew the colours. No rush for Kursk. No, definitely not. We'll do it when we do it. Model railway hobby is a perfect argument when you need to point out how relatively cheap Wargaming is. It's a good point. It is a very good point. What's interesting is relatively recently, about a year or so ago, a neighbour of ours died just down the road. An oldish fella, just died. People do, don't they? And but Claire had been looking at the house for sale because she was looking to buy houses at the time, and she'd noticed that he actually had a big old model railway set up in his in the loft, and it was in the photographs of the house. Just shows you, doesn't it? You live next to somebody for years, and they have these little things that they do, that we all do. Well, my neighbours have got no idea. I'm up here talking rubbish to you lot out there in the internet world. Could be worse. I could be on OnlyFans, couldn't I? How was Waterloo? It was brilliant, James. Really good. Did you find a little patch of bushes where Richard Sharp shot William Orange? I didn't talk about Richard Sharp shooting the William of Orange, but yes, it was. It was fantastic. If you have a look on the Storm of Steel Facebook page, I've put a photo dump up, and I am making a video of the trip as well. But yeah, it was brilliant. Lovely weather, great company. We bumped into some more wargamers while we were over there, so we're chatting up to them as well. Bumped into an old mate of mine who was doing tour guiding. I've not seen for years. So perfect trip all round as far as I was concerned. Brilliant. And I was looking at the photos earlier and just wishing I was there again. I shall bid you all good night. Must be off now. Small humans waking up. Must get back to bed. Alright, good stuff. Thanks for joining us, Glendower. Of course, you're not wanting to rush back to curse. Keep having your backside on your decks. Used to use oil paint horses over white. How mad is that? Linseed oil to water it down. Took days to dry. You're not wrong. To be fair, it's turned about for 20 lights. Proceeded. It's true. It's I'm getting my own back on our decks. But doesn't matter. I enjoyed 29 Let's Go equally as much, because that in itself was a puzzle to unlock as the Germans, and it was a good one. It was a cracker. The Postman shed. Oh god, no! There's no image. I'm not forgetting over it. What, OnlyFans? Yeah. I'd be paying people to watch me. Yeah, probably something the best left not thought about, I think. Right, I'm down to the last 2, 4, 6, 7 of these fellas, and then I think I'm going to leave it to that for tonight. Too much brain power, so I can't really I can't think straight anymore. But yeah, on Thursday night I was supposed to be playing with decks, and I completely forgot that I'm actually giving a talk on Thursday night, which is a bit annoying, but I did agree to it about a year ago. Could not afford it. No, definitely not. I definitely could not. I'd be bankrupt. I always enjoyed doing talks. I don't mind doing it, but it kind of completely eats up your evening. Just doing something for an hour. But it's time off in lieu from work, so I don't mind. And I'll take it. Dex, get Alex to play the Commonwealth troops when you tackle Singapore. That should be an ugly campaign. Yeah, it is. Everard Junction is great for ideas, chain building. Some fantastic 80s South East England stuff. Okay, I've not heard of him. I watched that guy, Boulder Creek Railroad. He does some nice. Luke Towan, isn't it? I think he's called. He does some nice bits and pieces. I've not heard of this guy, Everard Junction. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, the techniques that they use are always pretty good. They can be used, you can just bring them over into wargaming scenery quite easily, and I generally do. And same with modelling as well, military modelling. People like Night Shift. He has some fantastic techniques for his things, and it's just just elevates your terrain a little bit more. Just makes that table look a little bit better. Better than on a bloody green board anyway. Just a bottle green board. That is. But yeah, we will have to do the Singapore campaign decks. I'm happily take the Commonwealth on, because it's an absolute challenge for them. If we play the 1942 one from one of the Lardy specials, it's a real kicker. The Japanese just get a fresh platoon every turn, every game turn. So they just don't suffer any losses. They just keep piling them in. It's bloody hell. It's never ending. So the poor old Australians just keep getting battered and battered. But that's what it's about, and that's what makes you make choices in the campaign. It's great. The thing I don't get about model railways is the figures are amazingly bad. They are actually. Yeah, they are terrible. They look so ugly and awful. No shading. They're just block painted, aren't they? Yeah, I don't get that either. But I think it's because it's more about the train rather than the little people, really. It's where the emphasis lies. You know, it's not. It's on the moving bits, not the little things that are happening off in the periphery. But yeah, all they need is a wash, quick wash. Alright folks, this is the last one, so I'm going to finish up here, I think. This is going to be me done for tonight. That's managed to get 40, 50 odd British soldiers all based up, ready to go. So these will be completed over the next couple of weeks, I should have thought. That's what I'm planning anyway. We'll see how we go, but that's what I'm hoping to do. So what I'll do is I will say good night there tonight. Thanks everyone for watching, as always. I hope you've enjoyed it. You obviously stuck around for a while. The lunatics that you are. And I shall see you in the next painting chat. I don't know when it'll be. Might be next week, might not be. Might be the week after. We'll see what happens. And I shall see you when I see you. And there's a Storm of Steel video coming out tomorrow, which is a review of a book review coming tomorrow. And then you've also got another one on Friday, which is a Star Wars What a Cowboy. So check that out, and I shall see you all on the flip side.